All right, guys, we're back. Welcome, episode 71 of Trade Talk. Pippin and Easy. Connor, welcome back
Thank you, Scotty. Thank you for having me.
from the wilderness. You made it. Were there any close calls, or was
None.
it? It was safe. So it was safe camping. It wasn't like Bear Grylls, sort of
It
really
was
getting
glam.
out there.
It was
Yeah,
glamping. I made sure that I had my doona, I had a fold-out bed,
yeah.
made sure I had all my creature comforts, a portable DVD player.
Oh
No,
yes.
it wasn't that bad, but
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, guys, it was a perfect week to go away. And for guys who do monitor the charts, welcome back. Quick risk disclaimer before we get into this. Obviously, we're talking live trading. We're talking potential setups. So please, if you're watching this, understand Connor and I, we're not professional financial advisors. If you're looking to get into Forex, especially, please backtest. Using Forex Tester, don't just dive into it with real money because if you start trading the news and everything's going on and the gambling mentality comes into play, it's going to get very ugly. So very good traders are not like going after things all the time. They're very methodical. So please get a plan and then get into the demo trading and then go into live trading. Don't just sort of jump in with real money. So, but that's us taken care of with our legalities. So the euro US dollar, Connor. So how long have you been in this for? Is this nearly 2 weeks?
oh yes, it would be 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's not a long time either, guys. If you're, thinking that's because it's interesting as well, isn't it? How it sort of played out. I mean, so you got in. Is that red line the entry where you've moved the stop there?
No,
It's
no, no. I got
one.
in. That's my stop loss. I got in off the massive bearish candle.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
see where it broke down. Yep.
yeah.
And so you're at break even with this trade, or not
No, no,
quite?
no.
Not
I'm
quite.
still. Yeah, no, no. It's about halfway to the stop loss.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
see it. So it's it's. I mean, guys, we don't give fundamental perspectives here, but for people who were checking on Monday, especially early Monday, it really had a pretty strong sell-off, and the US dollar was strong against quite a few pairs. So I was in the New Zealand dollar, and it's now it's very choppy right now. So Connor and I were discussing off air. This is not a very eventful trade talk this week, to be honest. And that's how it is, though. I mean, is there really? Have you been back testing a little bit today, or what are your plans for?
Yeah, yeah. I've been back testing. I've been back testing a similar sort of system to this with big shadows, but looking for different, not big shadows, just different engulfing candles on a trend line. So
Yeah,
I'll establish a trend line, and then if an engulfing candle hits the trend line, I'll take it and see how it goes. It's not too bad at the moment. I might have to work out a few things, but it's been doing all right.
well, it's not making higher highs or anything. It's not like it bounced and it really recovered. It sort of bounced, earlier in the week, and now it's just sort of really
Yeah. I'll
sideways.
just see. I'll just see how it goes. Just see
Yeah,
how
with
I've got my risk limit that I am willing to risk, which is 2%. So if it takes that 2%, so be it.
that's right, guys. That's important to know. So if you're risking quite a bit, you should know it because you'll be checking and really you'll be in a panic state where you're like, oh my god,
The pillow test,
yeah,
Scotty.
yeah. If you can't sleep well, then you've probably cooked it a little bit for the risk. It's very tempting to obviously want to grow an account quickly, but true professionals don't really approach it like that. They understand there's a process and they're not rushing, to grow an account really. So it's obviously frustrating if you have a small account, but if you want to get noticed by, institutions and whatnot, you have to sort of respect risk management because if you're working for them, you won't be able to do crazy stuff. So unless you want to get fired straight away. But what I'll do, so that's a euro trade. Now I was going to ask that really big bearish engulfing candle that happened.
Hmm.
I can't quite
Yeah,
tell. It looks like mid June. Would that have
yeah,
been a big shadow trade to you, or not quite?
yeah. No,
Yep.
that's a big shadow trade there.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's so. See, guys, so it engulfs, and the candle previously is in that top region there, and it closes right at the low as well. Yeah, so that's an example of what you're sort of back. Are you back testing on the 4 hour or the daily?
No, no, the daily. I'm
Yeah.
doing the daily at the moment. I find that the trends work well on the daily.
Yes, they do.
And,
yeah.
And so, because it's a trend trading system, I'll go on the daily. And then if it works well, I might try it on the 4-hourly. But the 4-hourly, I don't know, you just just when you think it's going to get a trend, it just really
You find that, it can quickly just revert. And you're like, oh, because one good 4-hour candle isn't the whole day. There's still obviously 6 more. So to have a candle like this on the daily is very significant.
I mean, it does on the daily, like they turn as well. Like it turns quickly, but when the trend goes, like it really goes, I find.
And this has been, like you said, it's meeting the criteria for a trend as well, guys. So if you're wondering, I got a question actually, what is a trend? And you should just look at it and say, where's it going? And it should be that simple. You don't need a whole flood of indicators or anything really. That shouldn't be necessary. So
yeah, like Walter Peters has that test where he gets the 5-year-old in.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yes. Yeah.
And asks the 5-year-old to tell us whether the charts are going up, down, or they're going sideways. And if a 5-year-old tells you it's going down or it's going up, then it's a trend.
It's as easy as that, guys. So I think Walter suggests to get a neighbor. I haven't done that. I actually have a young neighbor, but I don't want to concern their parents if I was involved to them with the laptop. Like, hey, kid. So maybe not do that, but just use your 5-year-old imagination there, guys.
Yeah.
So, but all right. So that's the euro trade. Now what I've got up here is the New Zealand dollar trade. So this has been, because I haven't been able to do any updates because my previous.
Did you say New Zealand dollar?
Yeah. And I took this on the 4-hour. And I got in on the 27th of June, and on the 4-hour, and it collapsed pretty nicely. And this was at about 1.5 R. So what that means, guys, is it was at the peak of it was about 3%. But I can only move the stop loss to lock in 2% if it moves to 4% or a 2R. So unfortunately, that's very tempting, but you can't be doing that because it could pop up and then. It doesn't have anything to give, and you've got to live it. Let it breathe a little bit. But unfortunately, it did rally. It just took me out on my trailing exit. But now it's actually moving up even higher. So, I've locked in some profit. I didn't have any risk for a while in this trade, but there was nothing else going on. And this week has been my full-time trading week where I don't work, and it seems like that's always the case. When I'm not working, things slow down. So you've got to be very careful. Not to, have fear of missing out or chasing things. So you've got to be very careful though. But like you said, Connor, it is going to be a quiet one this week, guys. But sometimes you got to embrace that. And I'm not sure how many people do back test, but we strongly encourage it. And what were your thoughts on that next? Because I mentioned in my previous video I put up earlier today on we're discussing scams and things like that. So. Should we say maybe early next week, tentatively, we do our next segment of...
so we're having the next Scam Watch will be brought to everyone by early next week.
That's right. And if you haven't checked out the first episode, I strongly encourage you on Mr. John Howe on Connor's channel. There's a link in the description section. It was a cracker, and he's a real gem, John.
Yeah.
For people who appreciate a good scam, he is and he's got his own YouTube channel.
Yeah, I reached out to him. I put the video up on his channel and said, "Hey man, if you want to talk about this video, I'm more than happy. I want to talk to you about it."
Yeah.
And he never got back to me.
No. Now we're not picking fun of him or anything. We just, he was a good example to highlight, what these characters do in regards to creating the dream. And Connor especially.
They all follow the same formula.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
And we'll be bringing further what formula.
Yes, I'm collecting some information as well. We'll probably have to put a disclaimer out before it as well, just to avoid any. It's all entertainment. All entertainment. We're not defaming anyone. Yeah. It's all for entertainment. It's like South Park when they do their little disclaimer.
Yeah. We need to have that. I should get that. I should get one of those.
We want to encourage you guys to always question things. Don't just go, "Oh my God, I want to make $500 a month." That sounds reasonable, or $1,000 or even more. You've got to really appreciate that money has to come from somewhere. You can't just sort of make a couple of trades, and that's going to be, unless you have a big account. But
I
most of
saw
the
a
people.
classic video today. I saw a classic video today how I turned $49 into $800 in 2 days.
Oh wow, there's a lot out there.
It's
Yeah,
absolutely mental. You know what they must have been risking. Yeah.
well, you can risk more than your account per trade with the leverage as well. So
you would have been doing 10 to 1. You would have been doing 10 to 1 on 100 to 1 or whatever on every trade. Most brokers will be talking about, leverage, different things like that. So tune in.
Yes, guys. But I think that's nearly about it. We've sort of unfortunately, but anyway, guys, back test. Connor, thanks again. Any closing remarks?
No, hit the nail on the head as always.
That's it, guys. Early night. Enjoy yourselves. Happy trading, and until next time, stay safe in the Forex world. Bye for now, guys. Thanks, Connor.